Hello, everyone. I'm just getting set up. Hello. Hello, everyone. How are you today? I hope you're well. So, my name is Harry, and this is Learn English with British Harry. Hello, Vladimir. How are you today? I'm good, thank you. I'm very good. I'm sporting a new look today. And how are you today? So, how's your day been today? I hope it's been well. So, my week, has been pretty busy. So, I'm just having a look at the stream here. And as always in life, things um, crop up. You have work, family life, and just life in general. So I decided to have a shave the other day, and it's been quite some time since I've had a shave, and I think it will be quite some time again in the future. And I remember why I dislike shaving so much. Yeah, I think as men, I think men have less options when it comes to your appearance because you can shave, you can have, so this would be like the clean shaven look. And then you can have different things like a goatee, a mustache, soul patch, but it really revolves around facial hair. And the thing about hair, it always comes back. And the reason why I don't like shaving is because I actually cut myself. It's been quite some time. Then I remembered, yes, that's why I just trim and use a trimmer instead. So yeah, the week has been going well. How has your week been, Vladimir? And how's your weekend been? What did you get up to? So I have some exciting news. So it's related to YouTube. So I'm part of the YouTube creator community, and I'm actually giving a presentation on Tuesday. So YouTube selects certain people to be part of their community, and it's quite interesting because I'm going to be giving a presentation on my journey of YouTube, which I will go into today as well. Eggplants. I love eggplants. So eggplants, you have a few different names for eggplants. So in the UK, we would generally call this an aubergine. And an eggplant curry is delicious and very, very nutritious as well. So I'm just having a look. So eggplants are a source of vitamins and minerals, including vitamins C, K, B6, potassium, and manganese. Very interesting. So in the UK, eggplant is commonly referred to as aubergine, while eggplant is a term used in America, Australia, and parts of Canada. Thank you very much. Yeah, it's going to be very interesting. They select a few people, they volunteer to give their presentations, and the presentation that I'm going to be giving is about consistency over perfection. And just talking about the journey of creating a YouTube channel, because I found that YouTube as well can be a popularity contest. And in order to grow very fast, you need to have a few things that fall into place. And in order to have something called a viral video. So a viral video is interesting. What makes a viral video? Well, firstly, you can have something that is a trending topic. Say, for example, at the moment, we have lots of things going on about Trump and the Epstein files. And that will be very, very trending. Unfortunately not, because that's within the community. But what I will do, I will present that to everyone as well. But I'm just discussing about, essentially what I'm talking about here is what I will be talking about in the presentation. So it's fascinating because I have been using YouTube for the early days, the early days. And it was quite funny when I heard the name YouTube, because YouTube is a phrase that a Scottish commentator on a talk radio station I used to listen to, and he'd use it as a way to like say to someone else that they're being silly or they're being an idiot. And so in Scottish, he was called the other person YouTube. And this was many years ago, 20 years ago. And then when I saw YouTube starting up, I watched it a little bit, but I think it was due to the fact that TV and movies were much more interesting. And then I've seen the evolution of YouTube, especially if it's trending things. I had some nieces and nephews that used to watch things to do with Roblox or Minecraft, and they would see these people playing the game, and I'll be wondering, what are you doing? Why are you watching this stuff? Why is it so interesting? And for myself, I just use YouTube as a resource. So say, for example, okay, I needed to know a recipe. I forgot how to bake a sponge cake. So I'd go onto YouTube, okay, how to make a sponge cake. And I would watch the 2 or 3 minute video giving the description and the details about how to make the cake. And then that's it. Bob's your uncle, done. Then I would close YouTube and get on with my life. And I've seen that progression, and more people are starting to use YouTube and even watch YouTube on their TV. You have TVs now where YouTube is one of the buttons that you can press. So instead of watching Netflix, you can press the YouTube button and go straight onto the YouTube page and watch things there. And one of the downsides are the adverts on YouTube, but then it's a way to support your favorite creator, content creator, because they would earn a small revenue, a small amount from that advert. Or it's really encouraging people to sign up for the YouTube Red so they don't have to see the adverts. So I've seen that evolution, and I've seen the evolution of viral videos. And sometimes it doesn't make any sense. It's just luck of the draw. You will see someone that makes an identical video to someone else, but that video goes viral and the original one doesn't. It feels like it's luck. But within that, and having said that, you can create your own luck. Now, so I'll be basically talking about my journey and how I grew to 10,000 without having a viral video. Now, having said that, I did have a short that did go viral, and it was a bit of a silly short. But in terms of long form videos, and I think that's where you draw in a lot of your audience that are interested in your content, because that's where you're able to grow. I think having long form content. Now, if I look at just the idea of consistency over perfection, because you can apply this to your English learning as well, or anything in life, that it's about consistency over perfection. Now, because many times if I think about creating the videos, I used to overthink making the videos, and I would be researching for a long time, even after I created the video, adding effects and adding skits and adding sound effects. And then I would just see someone else just talking and their video going viral. And it didn't make any sense to me. It didn't make any sense. And that's where it's very easy to become disheartened. But you have to remember your own personal qualities and your own journey, because you also have to be realistic, and you have to look at whether is your content any good and is it providing value. If it is, then there is nothing you can do to make it go viral. So if I have a look at some of my slides, so yeah, overthinking videos, fear of not being good enough. And you can apply this to English. So you can have moments where you're overthinking what to say, and this is where you want to keep it simple. Now, because I have taught thousands of students from all around the world, and I have many years of experience, I haven't just taught in a short batch, and here is my credibility. I have taught for many years, and over these years I found that overcoming these things and not overthinking is very powerful, because you can get stuck in a trap when you are overthinking. And I've taught my students a lot of techniques on how to stop overthinking, especially as an adult, because it's very different. I've taught all different ages. I've taught children to teenagers to adults, to elderly people that wanted to learn English. And I found that the older that you become, the more that you start to overthink, because you have a perception of yourself, and you think, if I make a mistake, what are people going to think of me? That I don't know something extremely basic. And even if you're at an intermediate level or an advanced level, you still have that fear. You have that fear of forgetting something or not remembering the vocabulary and getting stuck. And this is why my experience has really helped me to help my students, because in these times it's really important to practice the skill of reformulation. And this comes with practice. So if you are talking about something and you find yourself talking more and more and more, which is a good thing, because you're at this stage, you're an intermediate to advanced learner of English, and you almost start to go down. It's a slippery slope. And so you need to know how to reformulate and get back to the question. And it's simpler than it sounds. And I will talk about my delays in launching the YouTube channel. So I actually created a video. I still need to touch it up. I found the video. So I created another channel, and this was a long time ago, and I published one video. And that one video took me weeks and weeks to create. It was about how to talk about yourself in a job interview. And I had different scenarios, and this is a classic case of overthinking. So I gave different scenarios of how to answer the question as a graduate, as someone who is changing careers, and someone who wants to progress their career. And I would change my outfit. So I would put on a different tie and come back, and then have one person go back and change my tie and come back and then describe how another person would say this. And at the end of the day, it was just over complicating things, I think. So that's something that I learnt. And it's about being imperfect. It's really about being imperfect and being genuine at the same time. Because when you start anything, it's going to be rough. It's going to be difficult. So here it's about focusing on the progress. You learn by doing. And that's why I really suggest that people sign up for the group speaking class that I have. There are details for this in my description. So here you're going to have speaking practice with a British English teacher and a native English speaker. So having that experience and that practice to speak is very important, because on one hand, you are just listening, which is a good thing, and improving your listening skills, but you can make faster progress by actually talking. And that's why I think these group sessions are really good, because you can see other people and they will be at different stages of their learning, but we are here to support each other. So you won't feel embarrassed whatever level you are in. And it's really beneficial, because over the 8 weeks, you're going to see a huge improvement. So it's not just about going on a course, going on a workshop, having lessons. It's about focusing on what it gives you. So by practicing your speaking with me, what will it give you? Well, if you go to my website, britishharry.com, and just listen and read what my students have said. I think sometimes in life, you can feel a little bit self-conscious to actually talk about your accomplishments. And it's a very British thing, I think, to not talk about your accomplishments enough. And if I think about it, like I said, I've taught thousands of students from all levels. I've helped students go from barely knowing any English to becoming fluent in English. And this encompasses everything: phrases, collocations, idioms, being fluent. I've helped students pass their IELTS exam and be able to move to a different country and to study the course that they want to. I've helped people that were struggling in English and they're living in Europe and they're speaking to, so the jobs that they want to go for involve speaking to people from the UK, from America, from Australia, and they've got the job. And the person, the interviewer, has congratulated them on their English. So when I've hear of these stories from my students, it's amazing because I've helped them to transform their life. It's not just about, okay, you're learning English. It's about thinking, how is this going to help you? So this is when it comes to judging whether you are investing your time wisely. And this is what I think you're doing, because you're investing your time, your effort into improving yourself, really improving yourself with someone that has already had success with students. So it will be fascinating and wonderful for more people to sign up. I really look forward to helping you in the sessions. So that starts on Sunday, the 3rd of August at 7 p.m. British Standard Time. So have a look at that. Now, going back to consistency. So what does consistency look like for you? Well, consistency, I think, is an interesting one because it's different for every person. Now, when I started making videos on YouTube, I would watch these YouTube gurus and try to listen to their advice. And the consensus was that make one video a week. So making one video a week would be enough. And I found that wasn't the case. And then when it was getting close to the year lapsing to become monetized, and I actually passed the 1 year. So all the videos I was making at the beginning, I was losing those watch hours. So you need to have 4,000 watch hours in 1 year. And I put so much effort into those videos. I sacrificed family time. I would wake up early at 4 o'clock in the morning and make these videos. And these are the things that people don't see. And I put so much effort, and then I lost those hours because the year lapsed. And I was distraught, and I was like, right, I just need to make more content. And I was publishing almost every day. And it succeeded in getting to the watch hours. But on the other hand, it was still a bit disappointing because now this is also something that you have to bear in mind in life, that just because you have the motivation to do something, you put in the hard work to do something, you won't get to where you think you would be. Because in terms of the views on my videos, it's a couple of hundred per video. And here it can be a bit disappointing. Now you need to, I think, check in with yourself and be realistic. And also again, to think about the positive and congratulate yourself, because I think it's amazing. If you think about in a room, say I only have 100 views on a video, that's 100 people. So 100 people in a room, that's a lot of people. So if you translate this to your English, say for example, you have the goal of being fluent in English, and you try to speak English, but you forget words, or you get to a situation where you can't express yourself. Rather than beating yourself up, so beating yourself up is an idiom which means to be difficult with yourself. So rather than being mean to yourself, congratulate yourself, because eventually you will break through. So I think a lot of things have a learning curve. Now, I think it's quite smart to be realistic, because there are going to be some days where you have low energy. Now, when you have low energy, how do you cope with learning English when you are completely tired and you have no energy? How do you cope? So Vladimir, if you're still there, how do you cope when you have no energy and you want to work on improving your English? In terms of YouTube, I think I have like a spreadsheet. So in Google, you have Google Sheets. I have a huge spreadsheet of video titles that are waiting for me to create. On one hand, it can be intimidating because I have all of these videos to create. But on the other hand, it makes me feel good when I've ticked them off and I've said, right, I've made this video. So knowing how you can allow for low energy days, but you still do something. Because if it comes to learning English and you have no energy and you're tired, then you could just pop on a movie, read a book, read a few articles, and not really think about, okay, I need to understand this article. Just the process of being exposed to English. And for myself, I have videos where I know these videos are going to take some time, and there's some videos which are going to be shorter, and I can do that with minimum energy, but it's still good quality and providing some value. So that having a routine can help you, and you get into a rhythm, I think. It's like going to the gym. Now, at the beginning, say for example, you haven't been to the gym for a long time. You're not sure what to do. So you'd get a coach, you'd get a personal trainer to help you to do certain exercises. Maybe it could just be that you need the push, you need the motivation. So essentially, this is what the English lessons that I provide and the group sessions provide, in a structured and fun way. Because like I said, it's like training in the gym. If you just go into the gym and you don't know what you're doing, you can get injured, you could overtrain, and that could cause injuries. You could train so much, then you could lose motivation. But having the lessons and joining my group class will give you that structure every week to improve in a focused way. So like I said, being a native English speaker and a British English teacher has helped me to identify the best ways to help you to improve. So you're going to see those improvements in a structured way. Yeah, that's interesting, Vladimir. I think sometimes you will feel tired. of it. And yeah, I think there is an excuse, I think, sometimes, just generally in life. But being surrounded by English definitely helps. Just pursuing your hobbies, your interests. So if you think about what do you do when you have no energy and you just want to chill out and relax? So it'll be watching Netflix. It would be browsing YouTube. It would be playing video games. And here, if you can do those same things in English, it's almost a hack to help you because it's low effort. When you think, okay, now I need to sit down and study, it can feel daunting. It can feel overwhelming because now you think, right, I have to absorb all of this information into my head, and you have to be in the right frame of mind. But if you can do something when you're not in the right frame of mind, but it's literally the whole day, day after day after day after day, you will see those improvements. It's like if you want to be a singer and you only sing in the lessons, if you go to singing lessons, you're not going to see a huge amount of improvement. But if you're singing in the shower, if you're singing while you're walking, if you're singing while you're sitting down, if you're singing while you're in your bed, if you're singing 24/7, you'll get there a lot faster, and people will be amazed and think, wow, how are you such a good singer? Well, I've just put more hours into it. So this is where thinking in English is extremely powerful. And for me, one of the first things to do is to think about your daily routine. Now, this is why, again, the lessons are really helpful, because you can be thinking in English, thinking about your daily routine, talking out loud, but until you have that speaking practice, then you're not sure if you're doing the wrong thing. This is why speaking and having practice with a professional teacher helps in that regard, because at the same time you're practicing your informal and formal English, knowing how to navigate between the two depending on who you are speaking to. So this is really beneficial, I think, for you. And so thinking in English 24/7, speaking out loud, recording yourself, even though you will feel self-conscious, it's about having that feeling of that uneasiness, but still doing it anyway. Because we all have mindset blocks that we have to overcome. Some of these are procrastination, comparison, self-doubt. So you have procrastination. So procrastination is when you put off doing something. Comparison, comparing yourself to other people, and self-doubt. I think conquering self-doubt, doing it anyway, being detached from the outcome. So being detached from becoming fluent in English will help you to become fluent in English faster. So there's something called relaxed concentration. So if you are detached from the outcome, if you are so heavily focused on becoming fluent in English and that's all you can think about, it can actually hinder you rather than focusing on, right, today I want to add one vocabulary word to my vocabulary, which is easy to do, one word. If you focus on that, then you will definitely see improvements. So in terms of YouTube, I can't control. I would love for my videos to go viral because I feel that I have hundreds of videos and they are no different to other people that are creating videos, but they just haven't gone viral. And so it's just about luck. But then I feel, okay, So I just need to create more, basically. So removing that self-doubt. So the whole point is, if you don't get to where you expect to go to be in a certain time frame, do you stop? No, because it's become part of your lifestyle. So your lifestyle is thinking in English, adopting English into your lifestyle, looking at pop culture, looking at news events in English, seeing what's happening in the world and trying to describe that in English. So you get to a point where it's your lifestyle. It's no longer thinking, okay, now I am speaking a second language. It's just a language that you have assimilated, you've added it into who you are as a person. So sometimes you can feel there's something called the imposter syndrome. So you may feel like an imposter. So you may feel, I'm fake because I am speaking in a certain accent or saying a certain idiom, and it's an English idiom, and it's something I would not normally say. But if we think about learning your native language, at one point in time, you were a baby and you didn't know your native language. You would just babble and make sounds. So I believe that we all have the ability to learn a language skillfully and add it to our own personality. And in some ways, you actually have an advantage by knowing another language, because you can compare the two and you can add elements of your own culture into English when you are describing something in English. So for me, I think what helped to keep going is to celebrate the small wins. Don't compare yourself with another person. It actually got to a point where I just stopped looking at what other people are doing. And sometimes it can be beneficial because you can look at trends and see what's happening. But then another time I was looking at trends, wasn't really working. So I just thought, you know what, forget this. I'm just going to just create content that I think is valuable and interesting, and that I've seen that this certain content and information has helped my students. So celebrating the small wins, celebrate the small wins. Like I'm celebrating the fact that I'm creating a live stream now and connecting with you now and celebrating that. And this has helped me to give this presentation as part of the YouTube community to show that you can get there without having a lot of viral videos to get there, because it's about consistency, celebrating the small wins. Yeah, so I think if I ask you a question, and it's quite interesting to think about burnout as well. I think, if I'm being honest, I had a bit of burnout this week. And when I was creating the videos every day, you get into a rhythm and it becomes part of your routine. But then when you have other things to do in your life and you haven't made any content, and then you have to come back to creating the content, it's about dealing with your emotions, because you know, okay, you're going to create this content, and is it going to get a lot of views? And then you have to struggle with that and think, okay, even if it doesn't get a lot of views, you're creating content that is going to be valuable to some people. So that pushes you then to create that content. So, you know, I think it's in life, I think it's also interesting to think about what makes you happy? Because happiness comes and goes, but what makes you happy? So if I write that question here, so what makes you happy? If you think about things in your life, is it friends? Is it traveling, family, spending time in nature? So actually, let me use my fancy board here. Right. So, what makes you right? What makes you happy? Yeah. I think I will have to make a video about this because for me, it's proof. How can it be possible to be doing so well on TikTok and then so poorly on YouTube? Like I said before in the last live stream, when you're watching on TikTok, you hear the person straight away. But on YouTube, you have to click on the thumbnail. And I think my thumbnails are good. I think my thumbnails are good. I spent a lot of time on my thumbnails. There's even a feature where you can test your thumbnails, and it's enough to drive you insane. And then you're thinking, why are people not clicking on the thumbnail? Is there something wrong with the way I look? And then you just think, well, people have a bias. They would see another person that looks stereotypically British or looks in a different way, so they would just click on that. So on TikTok, you hear the person's voice straight away and you can get into it. And for me, I found a bit of solace in that it's just going to take sheer quantity in some cases. Sometimes you can create videos and they do really well, but how can I show someone that I am British? That's like, if I think about my channel name, Learn English with British Harry. I can't make it any more clearer than that. So it's very, very strange, very, very strange how it can be winning on one platform, but then not on another. And it's just weird. And I just had an epiphany, and I just thought, right, I am not going to overthink it. Just going to keep creating the content, chipping away, creating valuable content. And that's all you can do in life. That's all you can do. Some people, it depends, like, in life, where you are in your life. Like, things around the world are incredibly difficult. Like, one of my student the other day, he lives in France, and he's in quite a high position within the company. And we were talking about how in France they have a huge problem with their debt. And it's at a point where the French leader is thinking about cutting some holidays, some public holidays. And this would be a way to reduce the public debt. So lots of people have problems in their life. Now, when I was looking at public holidays to be cut. So the French Prime Minister is looking to scrap 2 public holidays in a bold bid to cut the national debt. So people all around the world are struggling with the cost of living crisis. And this is where I think being able to push through and improve your English in times of difficulty is going to help you. So when the economy gets better and you're in a position where you can confidently speak in English, this is only going to benefit you. And this is why I've thought that the best time to do something is now. Don't wait. If I look at the best time to create a YouTube channel was during COVID, when people were not going into work and they were using the internet a lot. And at that time I thought, I was procrastinating. Who's going to watch a video that I create? And I talked myself out of it. And since then I thought, just go for it. Just go for it. Be detached from the outcome, but go through with the process that is actually going to help you. Yeah, so it's unbelievable. There's some videos that have close to 250,000 views on a video and over 20,000 subscribers. So it's strange. It's really strange. And like I said, I've explained my theories of why I think this has happened. And it's a shame. It's a shame. It's a shame that the YouTube hasn't grown faster. I'm only human. I'm not immune to disappointment, especially when you put in so much effort and hard work into something. I'm only human, and it can be extremely soul-crushing. But you have to pick yourself up and just keep calm, keep going, keep pushing forward. And eventually just having that belief, and think about the skills that you've created, because I think the skills that I've picked up along the way have helped me. So when I'm doing this presentation as part of the YouTube community, I'm able to talk about the skills that I have learned, that even if you are in a position, even if you are living in a country where people don't speak English, or you're in a position where you think your English is weak, you have opportunities, you have ways to improve it. Before the internet, this was extremely difficult. Now you have so many resources at your disposal to help you to improve. And this goes for any skill. Yeah, very true. Thank you, Vladimir. Yeah. It does, I think, affect because in the beginning you have a lot of enthusiasm and passion for creating, and it's only natural that you want to see the fruits of your labor. It's like in work. If you go into work, you work on a project, you finish the project, your manager tells you you did a good job, you may get a pay rise if you keep performing consistently well. But with YouTube, you are susceptible to, for example, the number of views, the number of comments, positive comments. So that can be a reflection on if your video is good or not. So if it has high number of views, it's a reflection that, okay, people like this video, so it's good. So then it's a reflection that you put all of this hard work into something, and it's a reflection that you did a good job. So, and if you have low views, it can be a reflection that you haven't done a good job. So it can mess with your head. But then if you think about it logically and you look at your videos and you think, right, I think these videos are good that I am creating. And like you said, it's a matter of time. Yeah, definitely some things need more time. And it's just about consistency, because I think to get very few channels are actually monetized. If you think about how many millions of channels there are, there's a small percentage that get monetized. And I think people give up because they realize how difficult it is. And having a viral video, it gives you that momentum to keep going. And if you haven't had that yet, you have to have even more resilience to keep going, to believe in yourself, to believe in your credibility. If I think about in terms of English teaching, you have people who have never taught before teaching on YouTube. They may be scrambling around to teach people, to say, okay, I've taught people now. But if you're someone that has been doing it for many years and has many years of experience, that doesn't matter, because YouTube is a different kettle of fish. It's due to popularity and right timing. But at the end of the day, everyone is in the same boat because they are trying to make it. And talking about my journey to other creators and hearing from other creators is relaying that message. So relaying that message of consistency over perfection. Consistency over perfection. Because if I go back and I think about it, like I would think about having, right, there's a lot of steps that go into creating the video in terms of lighting, camera, sound, your own appearance, your background, and thinking that everything has to be perfect. And it doesn't. I think when you're creating even these videos now, so the topic is English and learning English. That's the aim of the channel. But you have different things that you pick up on, like in terms of companionship. So when you are watching a video on YouTube, you may be doing something else around the house, but you have that companionship and you're listening to someone talking about something, and they may say something in a certain way or use a certain phrase, and you think, that phrase sounds interesting. So that's really the objective of these particular live streams, is just to talk off the cuff, have no particular agenda, and just to talk about things in random. So thanks, Vladimir. So you said learning English makes me happy. Perfect. Very good. Apart from that, food, music, art, nature, family, and friends. Yeah, definitely. I think that's a good selection. I think for myself, even small things like going to the gym and being able to do another rep of the exercise makes me happy. Making a video makes me happy because I know I've done it, and it's another one added to the arsenal, and it's building up that catalog of videos for eventually in the future, when more people find these videos, there will be a huge catalog of videos for people to enjoy. I think in the world, especially the last few weeks, I have been watching a lot of content to do with Trump and Epstein. And this whole story has just been getting deeper and deeper. And you kind of lose hope, but you do find some solace in the fact that because so many people are talking about this case, that they are putting the powerful people under pressure. So if you haven't watched any of the news videos of what's happening, there's a YouTube channel called CoffeeZilla. He has another channel which is Voidzilla, and he talks about exposing scams and exposing cryptocurrency and what's happening now. So I think that it's good that people are aware of what's happening, even things to do with Trump's connections with Israel, with Russia. I think it's insane how he was able to become the president of America for the second time, knowing what we know now. But that's just the value of information and not being swayed by misinformation. One of the greatest things that we have to do is guard our brains against misinformation. Yeah, so that, as you well know, I'm a huge Arsenal supporter, and Arsenal have been making a lot of signings recently. So this has been making me very happy because we have a better chance of winning the Premier League this year. And I'm just having a look and seeing what else is in the news. Yeah, there was a story recently about a couple who went to watch a Coldplay concert. So Coldplay is a band, very popular band, a British band. I quite enjoy Coldplay, more so back in the day. And there was a story where a couple were caught on the big screen holding each other. And when they saw their face on the camera, they quickly ducked. So to duck is to go down, and they quickly hid. And the lead singer of Coldplay actually said either they're having an affair or they're just very shy. And this couple had a very expensive seats. They were right at the top. And I think it's quite ironic that because of their expensive seats, it was easy for the big camera to spot them and then show them on the big screen. And the man has been fired. So he was the CEO of a company called Astronomer, and the lady, I think she was the head of HR. So you have a conflict of interest there. If you have the CEO of the company and the HR manager in a relationship, you have a conflict of interest. And I thought it was quite ironic that out of all the thousands of people that could have been shown, they were chosen because they had expensive seats, and now he has lost his job and maybe even his marriage, because his wife will know about his relationship. So not all of the stories that you read in the news have to be so heavy. I do think it's extremely important to read. It's one of the things that will help your speaking skills and really improve your speaking skills. And try to read a variety of different stories. Being here, sometimes I feel like I overdo being a pro one day, and more people were here. Yeah, I think I really appreciate your support, Vladimir. I think I really appreciate it. It's really helping to make me feel motivated to keep going. So I really appreciate it. So yeah, take it easy on yourself as well. Remember that you can always watch the live streams as well, the replays as well if you can't make it. I think with the last one that I did was just a spur of the moment. But yeah, I think you're doing a fantastic job, and I really appreciate your support. So we're coming up to the hour. Okay, that's good. I think that, no, I don't think so. I think that, it would be nice for more and more people to comment more. And I think it's just a case of having, like I said before, the consistency of just doing it, even if you don't feel like it. And some people are lurkers. They would watch, maybe they don't know what to say or how to say it. And for some people, it takes time building up, but don't be afraid to comment. I think that it actually would encourage other people. But yeah. So I think I'm going to wrap it up there. Thank you so much for listening to my rambling. I hope you're well. So thank you, Vladimir. I really appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. You can go and chill out. And thank you so much. So I'm going to be creating some more videos this week and doing some more live streams. So thank you so much, everybody. So the stream is a bit delayed here. So thank you so much for your support. I really appreciate it. Cheers, mate. Thank you so much. And I will see you in the next one. Thank you. Cheers. Bye-bye.